Hi everybody, I hope you're having a good 2021 so far, and I hope you had a good festive period. I know I haven't uploaded in a while. I am really aware of that, and I'm really sorry. I hope that this is my idea to kind of make it up to you, and I really hope that it does make it up to you. This is an updated version of my Springtrap and Dead by Daylight video that I did back in August or something like that. The one that blew up quite well, and you guys seem to like it, so I wanted to do a different version, kind of updated, taking a few more of your ideas that you left in the comments and putting them into practice. I hope you do like it. For those of you that don't like Five Nights at Freddy's, it's okay, you don't have to watch the video, but you know, you can maybe try and detach it from the franchise, maybe try and detach it from Five Nights at Freddy's and just look at it as a Dead by Daylight killer, and let me know what you think. I mean, some of the ideas are kind of based on the game, but some aren't, so give it a go, maybe. And if you do like the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out, and I really do appreciate it. But with that being said, let's go on to the video. Alright, so let's start by saying this is just a killer video. There's not going to be a survivor. The survivor could have been Michael Afton, okay? That's what you guys wanted. That's the most obvious one, because he is the protagonist of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. But I read into it a little bit, and it's quite hard for me to come up with perks for a character that I don't know that much about. So I thought I'd leave it up to you guys. If you guys wanted to see Michael Afton in Dead by Daylight, what would his perks be? Let me know down below. I really appreciate the comments, and I'll go through and I'll favorite them and heart them and all that kind of stuff, because I really do love reading through them. So let's start with a name. The name I've chosen for this particular concept is The Attraction, because that is the name that was commented like 1,000 times. I'm not exaggerating. There were like 10,000 comments on my last video. So about 1,000 times people said call it The Attraction. So I decided to go with that. There were tons of other great suggestions like The Salvage, The Creator, The Creation, I think at one point as well. The Man Behind the Slaughter, all that kind of good meme kind of fandom stuff. But this is the one I chose because this is the most commented one. If you have any other ideas, feel free to comment. But yeah, this is the one I wanted to go with. And this is how you would probably look. You'd probably look like the basic kind of way Springtrap looks. You'd probably be able to see some organs and some flesh down below. Down below? Not down below. I meant under the skin. That's what I meant. Jesus Christ. So by default, Springtrap would probably look exactly how you'd imagine him to look. But then the cosmetics could be really cool. You could do things like Scrap Trap, you could do things like Spring Bonnie or Glitch Trap, depending on what kind of vibe you want to go for. You could use Toxic Spring Trap, which is what I mentioned in my my previous video. There's absolutely tons you could do. And the other thing is that since I released my previous video, there have been legendary skins introduced into Dead by Daylight, which is where they kind of change the character completely but keep the powers. So things like Lisa Garland for Cheryl, for Cheryl Mason in the Silent Hill DLC. So they do it for licensed characters as well. So you can do all sorts of really cool stuff. So they could even do the original animatronics with the powers of Springtrap, which would be kind of cool. But I don't know. I'm in two minds about it, but it is something they could definitely do if they decided to bring Springtrap into the game. In terms of my opinion, I think it would be really kind of creepy to have an animatronic chasing you, especially if you could see like the flesh underneath and stuff. That would, I wouldn't really enjoy it. It would be kind of a creepy experience for me. But hey, that's just me. I think it's a creepy idea. I'm scared of flipping mannequins most of the time, so you know, this kind of thing would definitely creep me out. All right, let's look at this killer in a bit more detail. I've gone for a speed of 4.4 meters a second. The reason I've done this is because I think it's a bit more menacing to have an animatronic dude thing, corpse, ghost thing chasing you if it's a bit slower. It's a bit slower, a bit more jagged movements would be a lot creepier to me. And as a result, I've reduced the terror radius to 24 meters a second, just so we can get a bit closer before the survivors hear it. So that it gives them less of a chance to run away, and it compensates for the speed, basically, is what I've done. And it does complement the power, which I'll talk about next, which is called Afton Robotics. So the reason I've gone with this kind of power called Afton Robotics and kind of making it more of an animatronic-based power is because I wanted to make it completely different to my previous power that I came up with in my last video, but also I really wanted to pay homage to the fact that William Afton is supposedly the one that created the animatronics, according to the wiki. I'm not sure how accurate the wiki is. People have called me out on being incorrect in my previous video where I got all my information from the wiki, so I don't know where everyone's getting that information from. I think it's from YouTubers, so if the YouTubers are wrong or are right, then they're right. If they're not, then they're not right. I don't know where the information's coming from, but basically, according to the wiki, William Afton created the animatronics. And then as he got driven to insanity by the death of his daughter, he started kind of tampering with them, making them a bit more evil, making them attack people, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to kind of implement that into my power idea. Played by insanity and an unbelievable rage, the Attraction uses his animatronic creations to break his victim spirits and impede their progress, driving them towards his grasp. So I'll describe the power and then I'll kind of explain what I mean by it. So there's going to be 4 animatronics that enter the trial in various locations. Random locations to start with, okay? The animatronics automatically patrol an area around them. I don't know the size of the area, it would depend on the map maybe, but it's kind of just a basic kind of area around maybe like a tile or two. Moving slowly and emitting an 8-meter terror radius, so survivors know where they are by the terror radius basically. If a survivor enters the line of sight of an animatronic, it will abandon its patrol and move quickly towards the survivor, probably a bit faster than normal killer speed, maybe more normal killer speed, depends on, balance and that kind of stuff, okay? So it moves towards the survivor, alerts the attraction with a noise notification and shows their aura, so you'd be able to see the aura of the animatronic moving towards the survivor. An animatronic will chase the survivor until they escape its terror radius or perform a stun action. Basically, if you run away, if you're able to kind of loop the animatronic and escape their chase, then that's fine. They go back to their original patrol. Also, if you stun them by a flashlight or by a pallet or something like that, they also return their original patrol area and exit the chase. So all kind of good stuff. It's quite easily counterable at that point, which is pretty good. Splash ability is factory reset. So you press the power button while aiming at the ground to assign this location as the center of the nearest animatronic's patrol area, if that makes sense. So what you do is you're playing killer, you kind of right click on the ground. If you're playing on PC, you right click on the ground, and then the animatronic that's nearest to you moves over to that place. And as it moves over, it ignores any survivors that enter the range until it reaches the destination. The power also has a significant cooldown, so you can't just be putting them around like trapper traps. It does take a bit of time to kind of charge up that power, but it means that if someone does generate it in a certain area, it doesn't mean the animatronic's not stuck in that area. That's why I came up with this part, just so that you can move the animatronics around as the game develops. I thought that was a pretty cool idea, especially for like exit gates as well. It would be awesome to be able to place them around the exit gates. It'd be pretty sweet. And then the special ability, which is kind of where all this comes in, because it sounds pretty weak at this point. So when an animatronic is within attack range, the attraction will receive a unique noise notification and the animatronics will return red, basically so the killer knows it's time to kind of activate the power. You press the active ability button to make the animatronic lunge and trap the survivor in its jaws, injuring healthy survivors and immobilizing them. That's a little nod to the Bite of 87, which a lot of you wanted me to reference in the power, so there we go, Bite of 87's in there. But in terms of gameplay, what happens is survivors turn red, you press the button, and then the animatronic bites them. If you imagine, it's kind of similar to how a hag trap works, but you don't teleport. Instead, the trap itself grabs the survivor. It's kind of that kind of vibe, if that makes sense. Then, what happens is, the aura of trapped survivors is visible to the attraction, and then survivors can attempt escape and be freed by teammates, similar to a trapper trap. All right, so I know that in a recent video by the Dead by Daylight devs, they're going to be changing trapper traps. So it's that kind of thing where it's an equal amount of chance for each attempt or something like that. I can't remember how it works exactly, but essentially you press survivors will be able to kind of escape the trap, and it would be like a chance or like a game of luck or whatever it is in the game for them to escape. Once the survivor is free, it stuns the animatronic for 20 seconds, and that's pretty much it. So the benefit of this is that you've got 4 animatronics patrolling areas at any point. So you've got a map control killer, which I don't think there's enough of in the game, realistically. Yeah, you'd kind of have 4 animatronics patrolling different areas. You can assign them to different areas. And then if they spot a survivor within their range, I don't know what the range would be. It depends on balance again. But then once it's within range, they go towards the survivor. And if they're within range, the Springtrap gets alerted and is able to press a button and make them bite the survivor. Then obviously what you've got is you've got the survivor injured from the bite, and then you can move towards it, and if you get there in time, then you're able to attack them and down them, or if you don't get there in time, then the survivor is able to escape, and then the animatronic goes back to its state. So it's kind of really chance-based, but I think it's really cool because you could kind of choose where the animatronics go. There's obviously a lot of tweaks that can be done. If you're new to the channel, I don't really go too much into detail on balance. It's mostly about the idea itself. But yeah, I think this is pretty cool. I think it's totally different to anything else. It's kind of like, if you had to give it a cross, it's a cross between a trapper and a hag with some automation in it, which I think is pretty cool. I just pictured it from a survivor point of view. I play for survivor quite often for fun. I mean, I play everything for fun, but I play survivor quite often, and I think being like careful of certain areas, trying to avoid the gaze of this automatic thing would be pretty sweet. It might be a bit weak for the killer, but then there's tons of stuff you could do to balance that out. But I just thought it would be really cool and really different to any idea I've come up with previously. So yeah, I hope you guys like it. But with that being said, let's go on to the perks. So let's start with I Always Come Back. Even imminent death, I've spelled that wrong, haven't I? Imminent defeat does not diminish your rage. When a survivor opens the first exit gate, the second gate becomes blocked for 25 seconds. If the survivor is opening an exit gate when this perk activates, they are inflicted with the exposed status effect for 20 seconds. Hide if you want, did not save the others, it will not save you. Springtrap. So basically what I wanted to do is do another endgame perk, but I wanted to make it a bit different. So essentially the second exit gate, not the gate, you know, the gate mechanism. I don't even know what you'd call that. The power switch. It's not even the power switch. I don't know what I mean. Basically that switch gets blocked for 25 seconds when the first exit gate opens. Basically that stops by the time you run, but that stops the situation happening when you're a killer and the survivor opens one gate, they escape. By the time you get over to the other gate, the other survivors have escaped. This pretty much stops that situation. And also it's a little bonus, if a survivor's opening an exit gate when the perk activates, they're exposed. So basically, if somebody's holding the exit gate when the perk activates, they get exposed. And again, it's another incentive to run away and not to get caught by the killer by the gate. That's kind of the vibe I wanted to go for. Easily counterable by Survive with Friends. I'm aware of that. Easily counterable. You just say, I'm opening the gate, step off the gate, and then you don't get exposed. But the main thing is that the gate gets blocked for 25 seconds, which I think is a pretty cool thing that they haven't done yet. Remember Me kind of extends the gate opening time. You could combine those two and it'd be pretty sweet. That with Blood Warden as well. For like a completely destructive endgame build would be pretty damn sweet. And I'd definitely play it because you know I love an endgame build. Next perk is called Scrap Metal. And this again is to do with the engineering talents of William Afton. So your engineering talent lends itself well to sabotage. After kicking a generator for the next 60 seconds, any survivor that interacts with it will suffer from the deep wound effect. Scrap Metal has a cooldown of 45 seconds. Let's see how many times that you could be pulled apart and I spelled something wrong again. God damn it. And out back together again. Springtrap. I can't spell clearly. This is kind of like Dragon's Grip. Kind of like Dragon's Grip. But 60 seconds and you get the deep wound effect and then it has cooldown of 45 seconds. And it's any survivor, not the next survivor. So within 60 seconds, if any survivor interacts with it, they get the deep wound effect. And I'd probably make it so that there was no kind of notification, like no scream or anything, so that the survivors don't necessarily know where the deep wound effects come from. So if multiple people touch the generator within 60 seconds, they can all get deep wounds. Bit of fun. I like giving people deep wounds effects because I just think it's so annoying for survivors. As a survivor, I know it's annoying, and I quite like annoying them a little bit. It's a bit of mind games, in my opinion. A little bit of a mind game, a little bit of a psychological warfare. I like it a lot. The next perk, final perk, is called Special Delivery. I really like this one. So your attacks hide a dark secret. Hitting a survivor with a basic attack applies the splintered effect for 60 seconds. Healing a splintered survivor affects the deep wound effect. I wasn't 100% sure on this because that would be 2 deep wound things, and way too many deep wound effects would be just annoying. But I'd like the idea of splintered. So splintered would basically be when you attack a survivor, when this perk's active basically, them getting healed has a negative effect on the person healing them. That's kind of what I was going for. So it could be numerous things. You could do exposed, which is probably a bit too insane. You could do other things like hindered, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. There's similar kind of perks out there, but I thought this would be pretty sweet. For this particular one, I did a 90-second cooldown just to stop everybody being constantly in deep wounds, which if you ran Scrap Metal and Special Delivery, they'd be in deep wounds all the time. But hey, it's no more annoying than playing against Legion, right? So nobody can say anything. But yeah, those are the 3 teachable perks. If you have any other ideas for perks, let me know down below. I asked for comments quite a lot, but if you don't know what to comment, just comment like a ghost emoji or something like that. Like, it's a bit of fun. Just let me know that you're there and listening and got to this point in the video. It'd be pretty cool. Okay, so that's all the perks done. I do hope you like them. Let's talk about the Mori. So the original Mori I came up with in the previous video was that Springtrap would kind of open up the spring locks, put a survivor in and kind of like consume it, if that makes sense. But actually a lot of you kind of pointed out that wouldn't quite make too much sense itself because there's already a corpse inside it, so there wouldn't be much room for that. And it's a bit weird, a bit carnivorous in a strange way. So I kind of decided to change that one. One option you guys came up with was the Bite of 87, which and actually today, I think today or yesterday, somebody commented on my previous video saying that wouldn't make sense either because he's not actually an animatronic, so the bite wouldn't work, really. He is a corpse inside the animatronic. I don't know, maybe it would. So the Bite of 87 basically is when a child got bit by an animatronic and lost his frontal lobe. So essentially the Mori in this instance would be a survivor gets picked up by Springtrap and he bites his head off. Basically is what would happen. Similar to the Demogorgon one, but a bit more like lift up and bite, in my opinion. That'd be how it would look, and a bit more, it would probably have to be quite gory and quite brutal, so I quite like it. The next one would be that maybe he spawns a Springlock suit, a separate Springlock suit. I was picturing like an entity animation, so kind of like black kind of tendrils, and the Springlock suit kind of comes out of the ground maybe, and then they put the survivor in, and then the Springlocks kind of crush the survivor, similar to how similar to how William Afton was killed. That kind of thing would be pretty sweet as well. or literally just goes absolutely nuts and beats the absolute shit out of them with like his metal feet and claws or something like that. Maybe that kind of thing. I don't know. Choose your favorite out of those and let me know. But I think probably I'd love to see the Springlock suit one. I know I say it a lot. I think the direction they should go in, or the Dead by Daylight death should go in my opinion, is more like a Mortal Kombat fatality kind of thing, where all this crazy shit happens, but it's kind of like, yeah, I just think that would be a lot better. It'd be really, really cool to do that. Again, and similar to Predator Hunting Grounds, like they kind of act as if the game stops. It doesn't actually stop, but they act as if the game stops. You're in a different environment and the Mori happens. I don't know. It's up. You guys have your own opinions, but I think that would be really cool to get them to do more extreme and kind of crazier Moris, because I think that's a really good thing to do, especially now they've changed Moris. I think they need to do something to make it a bit more special. So that'd be pretty sweet. I think that's the end of the video. The one thing I did miss out is the weapon. I don't know what the weapon would be. I really, really don't know what the weapon would be. I don't want it to just be his hand. I don't think he uses any other weapon. Maybe he's got like a security camera and just whacks people with it. I don't really know. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the first video of 2021. Again, I am super sorry for the massive gap in uploading. It's been a rough time for me, 2020, and I know it has for a lot of people too, and I know you guys understand that. But I do love making videos. I love making you guys laugh and making you guys think about concepts and stuff. So I do hope to do this a lot more frequently. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like and let me know. And I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.